Hello there, long time no see. If you're wondering where I've been for the past few days or to a week, I've been sick. I'm still a bit sick, so I'm trying not to talk too much today, but since they released some new cards for Worlds Beyond, I have to look at those. So yeah, today we're just gonna quickly look through them and I'll just quickly talk about the things that I think are interesting. So first we have Zeroneia Iron Crown Ward here. 4 cost 4/4 evolve, summon 2 copies of Knight, and give all other allied followers on the field +1/+1. And then the Knight is a 0 cost 1/1. He's 0 cost now. Notably, even though this is a Swordcraft follower, there is no trait, there is no officer or commander. The Knight has officer though, so I guess this is a new direction they're taking it, where they're not sticking the traits onto like the main collectible cards, at least so far that we've seen. I haven't seen any commanders either, so yeah, it's pretty decent. At the very least, it's a nice little way to play around, or at least scare your opponent away from trying to board lock you, because you can buff your entire board with this card with an evil while summoning stuff. So yeah, seems pretty cool. Let's look at the next card. Next we have Amelia, Silver Captain. We're all familiar with Amelia. She loses her commander trait here. Fanfare is reminiscent of the old Amelia here. Fanfare draw 2 Swordcraft followers and then recover 3 play points. And on Super Evolve, she gives all other allied followers, Swordcraft followers, barrier, so she doesn't get barrier herself, which is notable, I guess. Interesting things here, she costs 1 more now instead of costing 5. And the other thing that I want to point out is that her art is very different. I'm not sure where this art style came from, because you can see it's vastly different from the old Amelia, which I will quickly flash on the screen here. You can see that the art style is very different, so they might be looking at overall changing the art style for the game as a whole from here on out. So let's look at the next card. Next we have Luminous Lance Trooper here. This is just a strict upgrade of the old Luminous Lancer. You can see it doesn't have any commander officer as the same as before, but now it has a trait for Luminous, which might be relevant at some point, we don't know yet. And then pretty straightforward fanfare, summon a Knight. Whenever an allied officer enters the field, give it rush. It looks like the officers for this one is going to be the summonable tokens like the 1/1 Knight, and we'll see the Steelclad Knight later on. So let's move on to the next card as well. So next here we have Amalia, Lux Steel Paladin. 8 cost 6/6, so pretty heavy late game card, I suppose. Fanfare summon 4 copies of Steelclad Knight. Steelclad Knight, you can see here, is gonna be a 1 cost 2/2 officer Swordcraft follower, so just a better version of Knight. And then whenever an allied follower enters the field, is any allied follower, it doesn't have to be officer, so that's something, I guess. Give it +1/+0, rush and ward, so just a nice little late game card. You can summon a full ball of wards out of nowhere, which might be pretty valuable for you depending on what you need. So yeah, seems pretty decent for a late game card. I don't know how things will play out in the real game as well. Once again, there is no trait on this one as well, which is worth noting. Let's look at the next card, which are not Swordcraft cards. Next we have Salefa, Guardian of Water here. 5 cost 3/3 fanfare. Restore 3 to your leader. It has a ward, and on the evolve it deals 3 damage to all enemy followers. Usually when these games are quite new, AoE board clears are much rarer, so I suppose this card fulfilling that role can make it quite valuable regardless of how strong it actually is, which doesn't look super strong aside from the board clears for now. Let's look at the next card. Next we have Serene Sanctuary here. 1 cost amulet, countdown 3, last first draw 2 cards, engage, advances amulets, count by 1. You can drop this on 1, and then whenever you have a spare play points in your turn, you can just engage this to try to get to the card draw earlier. Seems like a pretty standard card draw effect for amulet based deck, which I'm assuming Haven will be, or at least some kind of countdown based deck, which is what it's gonna be looking like. Seems pretty decent. Let's look at the next card. The last card here is going to be Lapis, Shining Seraph. 8 cost 7/6. Last words, gain a crest, which is named after her, so I guess the followers that give crests will be named that way. And then her crest is countdown 2, last words, summon Lapis and give it storm. So there are a few things worth noting here, I guess. First is that the crests act as like sort of physically existing elements on the board, I guess, and the fact that it has a countdown and the last words as well, which is kind of what we expected when they introduced the crest system in general. And yeah, there'll probably be ways of interacting with this countdown as well, though I cannot say for sure. And then she summons a Lapis and gives it Storm, which can loop, because it doesn't say anywhere that she loses the last word, so when this effect summons the Lapis, your opponent destroys the Lapis, it will give you the crest back again. So I guess it's a nice finisher on its own. If you're playing control, your opponent just like eventually just dies to the Lapis Storm, which is something. So yeah, a few things that I want to talk about are getting crests here. The fact that they are physical things with like countdown and last words means that there might be more room for interaction in the future with these effects as compared to leader effects, which are notoriously uninteractable for the most part. So then we can look forward to that, and then allows them to be more creative with what they make leader effects as well. So yeah, the other thing I want to talk about, which we'll shift back over to Swordcraft for. The other thing I'll talk about, which I already briefly touched on, is that Swordcraft cards do not come with a commander or officer tag anymore, which personally I do enjoy, because I didn't feel like it was super relevant. Mostly, I felt like most of the time the officer and commander splits were just used for separating what cards you could tutor, which is not super interesting design, I guess. I mean, there are some people who will probably like the commander officer thing. Officer still exists, of course, with the token followers getting officer, so I guess this will probably push them in a design space that is more interacting with what the tokens will do, because they put a special tag onto the token, so making cards interact with officers are basically cards that interact with only the tokens. So hopefully, I mean, I do like tokens. It's one of my favorite parts about Swords, so I do not mind this one bit. Yeah, and then I guess another one point is that looking at the art for Amelia here, it looks like that's shifting towards a more cutesy and vibrant art design, which I'm not opposed to, but I think some people might not like. So yeah, and that's it for today. I want to say that I want to make a video for the next throwback, but it depends on when I recover yet, because you can probably hear my throat's still not in great shape. So yeah, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.